Dear brothers and sisters, I was ordained in the past millennium, and I had always been assigned as a foreign missionary in non-English speaking countries, France, the Congo in Africa, Italy, Mexico. But in the year 2000, I was assigned for the first time, once again, in an English-speaking country. I happened to arrive there in Fiji on Tuesday, just before Ash Wednesday. And so the rector of that interdiocesan seminary told me, Pio, why don't you celebrate the Mass for Ash Wednesday in order to introduce yourself to the new community, to the community? And so I did, but I had no time to review how the liturgical changes in the English-speaking Catholic world. But then, being confident because I'm coming from the Philippines after all, I fell back on what I knew when I was still a seminarian. And so when it came to the distributing of the ashes, I was using the old formula, which goes, remember, man, that you are dust, and to dust you will return. After the Mass, somebody pursued me up to the sacristy, and then when I turned around, it was a religious sister who was very angry with me. And she said, Father, you said something which is politically incorrect. As you put ashes on my forehead, you said, remember, man. And so I apologized, and I said, I realized that I was conversing with a very intelligent woman. She was a professor of psychology in the seminary, and a very militant feminist. And so I said, Sister, may I correct my mistake? I said, okay, how? So I said, I took the ashes that was left still in the sacristy, and I said, I erased the ashes on her forehead, and then I said, remember, O woman, that you are biodegradable, and being biodegradable, you will be recycled. Her reaction, of course, instead of getting angrier at me, she laughed. And so I laughed with her, and we became very good friends. The words that I may use as I distributed ashes today may be the new one: repent and believe in the gospel. But yet, the ashes remain a very eloquent symbol of who we are. Dust. We came from dust, and to dust we will return. We are mortal. And Lenten season comes around to remind us that, and not to just accept reluctantly our mortality, but to befriend, embrace our human mortality. This may sound a very morbid practice, but in fact it is a very liberating one. When we forget our mortality, we forget that our life has a deadline. We become so engrossed in so many worldly concerns and think that there would be, these are absolute ones. Our pursuit for more possession, more power, better prestige. And we forget that these are things, these are goods that we cannot bring with us beyond the grave. And we neglect what really counts in life. which is to grow in our love, in our care for the people who are worth caring about, our family, our friends, people who are needy and suffering. During this Lenten season, Holy Mother Church invites us to intensify our practice of fast and abstinence, our charity, and our prayer life. Fast and abstinence, which is symbolized by not eating meat on Fridays. But we can find many more meaningful practices of fasting and abstinence. And the spirit of it all is simply to set ourselves free from our addictions, like, for example, addiction to digital gadgets. We are called to practice charity, and charity beyond just our comfort zone, which is our family and our friends. But charity can take the form not just of almsgiving, but also of forgiving. Perhaps we are hanging on to resentments, and to forgive not so much those people who dislike us, but those people whom we dislike, whom I dislike, because my resentment, my anger, my refusal of others, it is poison within me. It is toxic for us. And finally, the Church asks us to intensify our prayer life. This means not just saying prayers, but being truly prayerful. To realize that we are embraced by God's presence, and we also live fully and truly in God's presence constantly. And this is the true spirit of prayer.